When information is acquired via tutorials and conversations, often using lecturers and handouts, who are the key people involved in this exchange? Students, tutors, other sources, tutors, fellow learners. None of the above. A set of homogeneous data stored in consecutive memory locations is called list, structure, array, union. What type of signal does the analog write function output? Pulse code modulated signal, frequency modulated signal, pulse width modulated signal, pulse amplitude modulated signal. Which one is not a control structure? While, if else, hashtag define, case. What will be the output of the following C code? Hashtag include void solve int b equals 4, int res equals b plus 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 b plus 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 b, print f %d, res int main solve return 0, 12, 15, 17, 20. Without what can IoT devices easily lead to catastrophe? Software, devices, cloud, management system. Which is a combination of hardware and software to perform a specific task? IoT system, embedded system, grid system, cloud system. What is the output of the following program? For winking face statements error. Statements will run forever. This is an infinite loop. Both B and C. What is the objective of the code given below if it is executed on the Arduino Uno? Hashtag include int pin equals 13, void setup pin mode pin, output serial. Begin 9600 void loop, for int I equals O, IEEPROM. Write I, 1 digital write pin, high exit 0 clear EEPROM. Fill EEPROM with ones. Export EEPROM data. Fill EEPROM with zeros. Predict the output of the following code if the object is moving towards the sensor. Int op equals 6, int is barrier equals high, void setup pin mode op, input serial. Begin 9600 void loop, as barrier equals digital read op if as barrier equals low serial. Print 1 plus, else serial. Print clear plus, delay 100 clear plus 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 plus clear plus 1, 1 plus 1 plus clear plus clear, clear plus clear plus clear plus clear. Which of the following is false about IoT devices? Use internet for collecting and sharing data. Need microcontrollers. Use wireless technology. Are completely safe. The advantages of using functions are: partition larger tasks into smaller tasks, code reusability, manage complexity, all of these. Arduino shields are also known as blank, add-on modules, extra peripherals, connectivity modules, another Arduinos.
अगर आप CCC या O लेवल के स्टूडेंट हैं तो पेश है आपके लिए आपके सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड 1500 प्लस MCQs। इसमें क्वेश्चंस हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में हैं, शॉर्ट एक्सप्लेनेशन है और आपके डाउट सॉल्व करने के लिए ChatGPT की सपोर्ट है। अगर आप इसे ट्राई करना चाहते हैं तो प्ले स्टोर से एंकी ड्रॉइड डाउनलोड करें और हमारी वेबसाइट acemcqs.gt.tc पर जाकर अपने सब्जेक्ट के फ्री सैंपल सेट डाउनलोड करें और एंकी ड्रॉइड में इंपोर्ट करके इस्तेमाल करना शुरू करें। अगर आपको अच्छा लगे तो बाय नाउ पर क्लिक करके गूगल फॉर्म फिल करें। हम आपका 1500 प्लस क्वेश्चन का सेट 1 से 6 घंटे के अंदर आपके व्हाट्सएप नंबर और ईमेल पर भेज देंगे।
Float, data type is valid in embedded C language. True, false, sometimes, none of these. A capacitor blocks AC and allows DC to pass through. True, false, maybe, none of the above. The founder of the Arduino project is blank. Massimo Banzi, Kevin Ashton, Tim Berners-Lee, none of the above. Which of the following languages does GSN work on? Python, Java, Android, C++. Every Arduino sketch has two main parts of the program: void setup, void loop, void setup, void main, void loop, void setup, void event. Which of the following is used to reprogram a bootloader in IoT devices? VHDL programming, IDE, ICSP, none of these. What is Arduino? Open source programmable circuit board, proprietary programmable circuit board, open source non-programmable circuit board, none of the above. The analog read method in Arduino Uno returns values within which range? 50 to 60, 1023, 0 to 255, none of these. One of the most popular Arduino boards is Arduino Duemilano, Arduino Decimala, Arduino Esplora, Arduino Do. How many arguments does the analog read function have? 1, 2, 3, 4. A single line comment begins with blank, / dot, asterisk asterisk, none of the above. The RS pin is used as a N blank for an LCD, input, output, input and output, none of the above. Which command is used to display characters in the serial monitor? Serial, serial, type, serial, println, serial, printing. Arduino code files are commonly referred to as blank in the Arduino IDE, sketches, drawings, links, notes. A control system in which the control action is dependent on the output is known as blank. Closed loop system, semi-closed loop system, open loop system, none of the above. What is the purpose of the analog reference function? To set the digital reference voltage. To set the analog reference voltage. To read the analog reference voltage. To read the digital reference voltage. How many types of Arduino boards are there? 2, 4, 8, 16. Which device allows you to prototype your project without having to permanently solder the circuit together? Crumb board, breadboard, slice board, none of the above. Which software is used to upload Arduino sketches to the board? AVRGCC, G++, CPython for Windows, AVRDude. When was Arduino introduced? 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. Which statement best describes the nature of pins on a typical microcontroller? All pins have only one fixed function. Some pins are always reserved and cannot be used. Many pins can perform multiple functions. Only a few pins can be used for multiplexing. Which type of pin should a DHT sensor be connected to? Analog pin, digital pin, any pin, analog or digital. None of these. When three resistors are connected in parallel, the total equivalent resistance will be blank compared to the smallest individual resistor's value. Less, higher, the same, depends on the temperature. The pre-built circuit boards that fit on top of an Arduino or any other development board are known as Vero board, FRC connectors, shields, breadboard. Which statement is required in an Arduino program to generate a 1-second delay? Delay 100, delay 1000, delay 10,000, delay 1. What value range does the analog read method in Arduino Uno return? 0 to 255, 0 to 511, 01023, 04095. Single line comment in C language starts with hash, / dot exclamation mark dash dot. Which of the following function is called only once in an Arduino program? Loop, setup, delay, digital write. The basic program in Arduino IDE contains setup and loop functions. Only setup function, only loop function, none of these. Sensors that produce continuous signals proportional to the sensed parameter are analog sensor, digital sensor, light sensor, dust sensor. Which device is used to convert light energy into electrical energy? Turbine, windmill, solar cell, none of these. Blank is the rate at which the number of signal elements or changes to the signal occurs per second when it passes through a communication channel. Data rate, bit rate, baud rate, none of these. Which type of pins in Arduino read data from analog sensors and convert the value into a digital value? Analog, digital, power, none of these. The analog write method can be used for PWM pins, hybrid pins, digital pins, none of these. In 80MEGA328P, what does the letter P stand for? Pico power, preprocessing, precise, popular. Inductance is measured in what unit? Ohm, farad, Henry, coulomb. In Arduino programming, which function is used to configure the pins as input or output? Pin mode digital write analog write set pin. In Arduino programming, which function is used to set a digital pin to high? Pin mode digital write analog write set pin. In Arduino programming, how many possible values do digital pins have? Only 1, 2, 3, any number of values. Capacitance is measured in ohm, farad, Henry, coulomb. The property of any conductor that opposes the flow of electric current through it is known as capacitance, resistance, inductance. None of these. What does the setup function in an Arduino sketch do? Runs continuously in a loop, initializes variables and sets up configurations, executes only when an error occurs. Used to include libraries. Which Arduino pin is used for analog input? A0 to A5, D0 to D13, GND, 3.3 volts. What is the default baud rate for serial communication in Arduino? 4,800, 9,600, 115,200, 19,200. What is the purpose of the loop function in an Arduino sketch? Executes only once when the program starts. Continuously runs the code within it after setup. Used for debugging. None of the above. What does PWM stand for in Arduino? Pulse width modulation, power width measurement, pin width modulation, peripheral wave modulation. Which command is used to read an analog value in Arduino? Analog write, digital read, analog read, read analog. What is the operating voltage of most Arduino Uno boards? 3.3 volts, 5V, 9V, 12 volts. What is the purpose of the delay function in Arduino? Pauses the program for a specific amount of time. Stops the program permanently. Restarts the program. Initializes the board. What is the use of the digital write function in Arduino? Reads the status of a pin. Sets a pin to high or low state. Writes data to the serial monitor. Configures a pin as input. Which function is used to send data to the serial monitor? Serial. Begin. Serial. Print. Serial. Read. Serial. Write. What is the range of values returned by the analog read function in Arduino? 0 to 255, 0 to 1023, minus 255 to 255, 0 to 4095. Which Arduino board has the largest number of input-output pins? Arduino Uno, Arduino Mega, Arduino Nano, Arduino Leonardo. Which function is used to initialize the serial communication in Arduino? Serial. Begin. Serial. Print. Serial. Setup. Serial. Init. Which Arduino board is best suited for wearable IoT devices? Arduino Uno, Arduino Mega, Arduino LilyPad, Arduino Nano. Which Arduino library is used to interface with an LCD display? LCD, H, Liquid Crystal, H, Display, H, OLED, H. Which sensor is commonly used for detecting motion in IoT applications? PIR sensor, DHT22. Ultrasonic sensor, MQ135. What is the main purpose of an LDR, light-dependent resistor, sensor in Arduino projects? To detect humidity, to measure temperature, to sense light intensity, to monitor pressure. Which pin on the Arduino Uno is connected to the onboard LED? Pin 10, Pin 11, Pin 13, Pin A0. Which function is used to create a delay of 1 second in an Arduino sketch? Delay 100, delay 1000 millis, 1000 sleep 1. Which sensor is commonly used to measure air quality in IoT applications? MQ135, BMP180, DHT22. Ultrasonic sensor. Which function is used to stop PWM output on a pin? Analog write no-tone, digital write tone. What does the Arduino IDE file extension .ino represent? Arduino initialization file, Arduino sketch file, Arduino library file, Arduino output file. What does the digital read function return? A value between 0 and 1023. A Boolean value, true or false. Higher LOW. A frequency value. In an IoT system, which sensor might an Arduino use to measure temperature? LDR, DHT11, ultrasonic sensor, servo motor. Which pin on an Arduino board is typically used for PWM output? Analog pin, digital pin with tilde symbol, GND pin, VIN pin. Which of the following Arduino boards is specifically designed for IoT applications with built-in Wi-Fi support? Arduino Nano, Arduino Uno, Arduino Mega, Arduino Nano 33 IoT. What is the role of an IoT gateway in Arduino IoT projects? Sense environmental data. Control actuators. Connect IoT devices to the cloud. Store data locally. What is the purpose of the analog write function in Arduino? To read analog signals. To output digital signals. To output PWM signals. To write digital high LOW values. Which of the following sensors can detect motion in Arduino-based IoT projects? MQ135 gas sensor. PIR sensor. DHT22. BMP280. What is the maximum current an Arduino Uno can supply from a digital pin? 10 mA, 20 mA, 40 mA, 100 mA. Which type of sensor is used to measure light intensity in IoT projects? BMP180, LDR, MPU 6050, DS18B20. What is the role of the serial begin function in an Arduino sketch? To start the serial monitor. To set up serial communication and boot rate. To write data to the serial monitor. To end the serial communication. What is the role of the DHT22 sensor in IoT projects? Measure light intensity. Detect motion. Measure temperature and humidity. Monitor air pressure. Which pin on the Arduino Uno is used to reset the board manually? A0, GND, RST, VIN. How many GPIO, general purpose input/output, pins are available on an Arduino Uno? 14, 16, 20, 32. What does the term boot rate refer to in serial communication? The frequency of data transmission in kilobytes. The number of bits transmitted per second. The power consumption of the device. The range of the communication. Which sensor is best suited for monitoring air quality in Arduino IoT projects? MQ135, BMP280, DS18B20, PIR sensor. What is the purpose of the tone function in Arduino? To generate a PWM signal. To produce a sound on a buzzer with a specific frequency. To control the brightness of an LED. To read analog values. What is the correct syntax for using the tone function? Tone pin, frequency, duration, tone pin, duration, frequency, tone, frequency, pin, duration, tone, pin. What is the typical range of frequencies that can be produced by the tone function? 1 Hz to 1 kHz. 31 Hz to 65,535 Hz. 100 Hz to 10 kHz. 500 Hz to 1 MHz. Which Arduino library is typically used to control a servo motor? Servo. H. Motor. H. Wire. H. LCD. H. What is the typical range of angles for controlling a servo motor using Arduino? 0 to 90 degrees. 0 to 180 degrees. 0 to 360 degrees. -90 to 90 degrees. Which function is used to set the position of a servo motor? Servo, attached servo, right servo, moved servo, set position. Which Arduino pin type is typically used to control the speed of a DC motor? Analog pins, PWM-enabled digital pins, ground pins, interrupt pins. Which library is commonly used to control a 16x2 LCD with Arduino? Liquid Crystal, H, LCD driver, H, wire, H, display, H. What is the role of the LCD begin function in an Arduino program? It initializes the LCD with the number of columns and rows. It prints a message to the LCD. It clears the LCD display. It changes the LCD backlight.
अगर आप ट्रिपल सी या ओ लेवल के स्टूडेंट हैं तो पेश है आपके लिए आपके सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड 1500 प्लस MCQs। इसमें क्वेश्चंस हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में हैं, शॉर्ट एक्सप्लेनेशन है और आपके डाउट सॉल्व करने के लिए ChatGPT की सपोर्ट है। अगर आप इसे ट्राई करना चाहते हैं तो प्ले स्टोर से Anki ड्रॉइड डाउनलोड करें और हमारी वेबसाइट asmqs.gt.tc पर जाकर अपने सब्जेक्ट के फ्री सैंपल सेट डाउनलोड करें और Anki ड्रॉइड में इंपोर्ट करके इस्तेमाल करना शुरू करें। अगर आपको अच्छा लगे तो बाय नाउ पर क्लिक करके गूगल फॉर्म फिल करें। हम आपका 1500 प्लस क्वेश्चन का सेट 1 से 6 घंटे के अंदर आपके व्हाट्सएप नंबर और ईमेल पर भेज देंगे।